Is it time for the NWA to retire the domed globe / 10 pounds of gold championship design? And if so, what would you like to see take its place? So firstly, this is one of, if not the first, opinion-based questions I've actually received about belts. So thank you very much for that. I greatly appreciate it, and I hope you're enjoying the content. Now, the NWA Championship specifically is a tricky one. So I've had and reviewed on my YouTube channel a couple of different variations of the domed globe NWA belt. However, I am in no way a fan of the actual championship design or its aesthetic look. It's just not for me. And you might be wondering to yourself, well, if you don't really like the design, why would you have any variation of it in your collection? The simple answer is history. I am a huge belt fan, but I'm also a huge wrestling fan and historian. And guys like Harley Race, Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes made this championship, specifically this design, and put it on the map. And not only is it special for that aspect, but you have to look at also the number of wrestlers who have held this championship who are huge names in the wrestling business, some of whom held this as their first world championship. You've got guys like everyone's favourite father figure, AEW's Christian Cage. When he left WWE in 2005, this was his first World Heavyweight Championship, as much as WWE loved to ignore that fact. You had a clean-shaven young upstart by the name of the phenomenal AJ Styles, who got his start in NWA TNA. TNA, while it does have its detractors, and it's amazing it's still around today, in the late 2000s was such an entertaining alternative to WWE, and they based, for the first 5 years, they based their entire identity around the NWA and the lineage of the National Wrestling Alliance's Heavyweight Championship in the form of the domed globe. While I know Jeff Jarrett had his detractors and TNA as a company was laughed at a lot, the NWA was their top prize. You also have a guy like Ron the Truth Killings, or WWE's R-Truth, who was the first black NWA World Heavyweight Champion, and he did an amazing job with that championship. You've got a guy like Nick Aldis, who's on weekly TV now with the general manager position of SmackDown, who did an incredible job of carrying the 10 pounds of gold NWA World Heavyweight Championship. And because of that history and the fact that while, I think it was my last video, I mentioned that the WWE United States Championship was the longest used championship design within WWE. I don't know this for a fact, but I'm fairly sure that the domed globe 10 pounds of gold design of the NWA World Heavyweight Championship is the longest used design for any wrestling championship in history. Don't know as a fact, but I'm fairly sure of that. And while it might not be my personal taste or the taste of the modern wrestling fan, there's something special about the history behind this design. Whether you love it or hate it, the backstory behind it is special. So for that reason, personally, I think they should continue to use this design variation. Which brings us to Random Wrestling Belt Fact number 93. Although the NWA Domed Globe World Heavyweight Championship would often be referred to as wrestlers and announcers as the 10 pounds of gold, unfortunately, in reality, it weighed nowhere near that much. This is an image of a ring-used WWE spinner, which was CNC made by J-Mar, with some of the thickest plates ever to be used in wrestling, along with the stacked plates on top of it, like the champ banner and the eagle on the main plate. And the scales clearly show that the ring-used spinner only weighed 10 pounds. And with a belt as big and bulky as the spinner only weighing 10 pounds, the reality is Sweet Charlotte weighed nowhere near that.